some open water swimming tips with type one, and I don't know about anybody else, but I've got a whole list of questions um that I can't wait to get stuck in. So welcome to the call, Steve.
Great, thanks. Yeah, I've had a few questions come through, so we'll get onto those in a bit as well. But I just
Awesome.
thought, Andrew, you'd put your special music on, mate, instead of that one, that rap that you sent through the other
Yeah.
day to the chat. That's
So
pretty cool.
before we get onto the open water side of things, I just want to dive a little bit into kind of your your diagnosis story and your kind of type one journey, and then your kind of swimming journey as well. So if you don't mind telling us to start with kind of um how you became diagnosed with type one, what sort of symptoms you had.
I just got really, really ill. I was quite fit. Used to play a lot of squash and rugby player. I've spin through this. And I just, just lost the power, drinking a lot, weeing a lot, and I just couldn't work it out. Anyway, before you know it, I got tested at the chemist and they said you need to see a doctor. I bought a set and I was like 30. I've heard about diabetes and the meter saying 30 or high or whatever it was saying at the time. So what'd you do? I go buy some orange juice.
Yeah.
So that's total, knew nothing, absolutely nothing. Needless to say, I ended up in hospital for a week. Yeah, I phoned the doctor up and says, the meter says this. He says, you near the hospital? He said, yeah. He says, right, I'll ring them, get there. And the minute I walked in the door, the nurse come up to me, smelled my breath, and that was it. Pulled me straight into ward, and then it's on the drip. And the strange thing, I don't know if any of you ever used to, this is back in 2004 with pens, and you'd have mix, you'd have
Mm,
long and short in the one pen.
yeah. That was two injections a day.
Oh man, that was a struggle. That was a real
It's
struggle.
mad looking back at that now, thinking how like I do wonder how it ever kind of worked
Yeah. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Imagine
because
having a CGM and that sort of treatment. It'd be crazy.
yeah, it's nuts, but it yeah, that's just yeah, it
Uh,
kind of didn't work.
no,
So so prior to being diagnosed, you said you were all that very fit, healthy, active.
yeah,
Always been
that's it.
always been into swimming as well.
No, God, no, no, I
No.
couldn't. They couldn't teach me at school. So one of my uncles did the old-fashioned way of teaching you, and they just throw you in the pool. Managed
Yeah.
to scrabble to the edge and thought that's me and swimming done with. Tried at school, never really learned at school. I don't know, just one they wouldn't let us swim with goggles either.
Oh,
I went to
blimey.
school. It's almost like the Victorian age, but it's not quite that long ago. Um, and so yeah, I never gelled with it. And then after diagnosis, I stopped playing rugby. And so I got into triathlons. I thought, well, main part of triathlon. Well, I bought a bike a feet back, couldn't ride a bike, and could run. I thought
So
I
you,
better
you
try
didn't
this.
like swimming and you didn't have a bike, so you thought you'd try triathlons. Yeah.
I'm not the sharpest knife in the box I never professed to be. But yeah, so struggled through 25 meters, got out of the pool and just thought, bloody hell, that's hard. And it just self-taught after that. And then the most embarrassing bit, I went to our local sports centre and says, do you teach swimming? And they went, yeah, yeah, of course do. I said, well, I don't want to get in a pool with kids. I says, I want adult teaching. And so they did. And then I used to swim multiple lengths and learn how to swim properly over about 6 months. And then self-taught. Then, as I said later in my talk, and then I got into, oh, I can swim 400 meters. And then I wonder if I can swim 1,000 meters. So I can swim 1,000 meters. And then things just get ridiculous after that, don't they? I wonder if I can, I wonder if I can, I wonder. And so, what I talk about later on in this, the marathon swimming and Ironman triathlons, and it opened me up to what was possible with me. And also helped me with the diabetes journey as well. Because I think mine was from a viral infection. That's what they reckon. But you're at that real low. It was when I was in hospital. I went out. I managed to get out for 10 minutes. Got to a bookstore and bought the Dummy's Guide to Diabetes. First book I could find. For I'm a dummy. I need to know that. And it was don't get me wrong. It was brilliant. Absolutely taught me everything I needed to know at that point. And especially when at a hospital. They went, right, there's your pens, off you go. I'm like, what do I do with that? How do I inject? What do I inject? How much do I inject? And it was, you'll work it out. So
That's bad thinking you've got like this pen filled with a drug that if you have too little, it could kill you. If you have too much, it could kill you. It's
it's,
mad. It's
it
absolutely nuts.
is, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
So your kind of determination to keep pushing yourself from the swimming point of view, going further and further and further and further. Do you think that kind of is that a mindset that you've always had when it comes to sport, or do you think diabetes kind of had a bit of a hand in that as well?
I was never really sporty. I played rugby and decent level, and squash, but I was never, that's 45 minutes and then you have a rest, don't you? So that was about me. But it's the whole diabetic journey thing. It just opened up. I think it opened up a door on me. I mean, often people say, "Would I change it?" Do you know what? I wouldn't. I'd still keep it because it put my life on a total different trajectory and showed
Mm,
me what's possible. When you meet with people, like a lot of people on this call, you see what other people have done, and you realise what you can actually do, even with this condition. It shouldn't be a limiter. So
oh,
I don't think
absolutely.
yes.
Yeah, I think you yourself being a prime example, like doing a marathon swim seems nuts. I can't wait to hear more about it.
Yeah. But you say that if I said that about doing a 100-mile bike ride, people would say the same. They'd say the same about running 5K, 10K marathons, wouldn't they?
Very
So
true. Very true. I
yeah,
still think that about the people that went and did coast to coast, like that 300 miles
yeah.
in a day. That still blows my mind. It's mad.
Multiple days in the saddle. Yeah, that'd hurt.
Um, so yeah, the floor is yours, Steve.
All right, cheers, guys. Um, I've been told I've got to say this bit. My wife says she's the health and safety expert. Says I've always got to put the warning in that I'm not a doctor, right? So any medical advice I give is truly on my own experience and should be treated as such. At best, it's a rule of thumb for which you can create your own experiment of one. My insulin and fueling decisions are examples of my own personal approach. So that's the bit I had to read out verbatim. So, I think we're all sensible enough to know not to do what someone else says. Um, anyway, I normally do this as a practical. I've normally got a array of people standing on the beach or standing on the side of a river, and we're about to get in and go swimming. So it's quite unusual to be seeing everyone fully dressed and not about to get wet and be terrified. But this isn't a polished version of how to open water swim. It's more of put it like more like a real world open water experience, right? It's going to be stripped back to the basics and it's going to be honest and practical. And do feel free to jump in at any time with any questions. And because we all want different things. So I've got a skeleton of what I'm going to talk about. But if you want to lead it to a different thing that suit what you need to know about, that's great. Hand up, jump in, whatever you like. And if you feel it's not going the way you want to direct it, and I'm rambling off in another direction too much, do feel free to bring it back online. So the scope of this is a lot of it's going to be talk about sea swimming because for most people who open water swim, it's the sea that terrifies them. Because yeah, as it said, the thing of this is could be monsters in there. They're not in rivers. Rivers are generally shallow. Lakes, you're normally not too far away from the bank. With sea, it's so unpredictable, but that's also the beauty of it. But the principles of this can be applied to lakes and rivers and even large pools. It's all the same. It's not specifically a nutrition talk. I'd leave that to Wendy, but I will be touching on fueling because that's obviously a quite for the likes of us. It's definitely something that is foremost in our mind. So I will be touching on that, but that'll be from my own fueling strategies and how I do it. And it's also not about perfect race lines, getting the perfect drill and perfecting your stroke. So this is all just about what happens when you get in open water. So yeah, I just feel like I rabbit on so much. So do feel free to stop me if I do. After this, what I want you to feel confident, capable, and less intimidated about open water, especially the sea, and be better prepared with your fueling strategies. And and also be comfortable about asking questions of people who are on the beach who are swimming, the lifeguards. Because, like any of us, we all love to talk about our sport. So if you go to the beach and ask someone, they won't shut up, especially the lifeguards, a wealth of information. Also, want you to think about preparation rather than fear, because it's fear that most people I take into the sea, you see them trembling and the fear, which is understandable. You go into an alien place basically. So, but if you go in with good preparation, there shouldn't be fearful. And then we're going to more about breathing than speed and distance. So if you get your breathing right, your speed and distance will come. Um, making a choice rather than a panic. So especially in water, if you panic, generally you die. So, and if you panic, you're not making good choices. So try. It's easy said than done, but don't panic. Um, Also about doing less unnecessary things once the swim begins. Again, we all overthink too much when we're in the water. I know I'm terrible for it. I'm swimming along and see bubbles, and I think, is that a shark? I'm in Brighton. There's no sharks in Brighton, but you never know. I could be the first person to be bitten by one in Brighton. And these horrors do go through your mind, and I don't want to put them in your mind. That's my nightmare. That's not yours. Um, I also want this to be make you fully aware that you've got to assess the water before you get in any large body of water. Um, Also, develop your individual diabetes plan for fueling, for swimming. What you're going to do when it all, not when, but if it all goes pear shaped, and you practice that plan, and you carry more than enough gels or whatever you need, juices, whatever. I always carry double. I always think I'm going to need 4. I'll take 8 because in these, which I'll show you later, toe floats, you can lose gels. And if you're having a low and suddenly your gels, last final gels disappear, that's a problem. Um, Also, have the confidence to turn back early when conditions change, especially, well, sea and lakes, the conditions can change quite quickly, and we'll talk about that later as well. And most of all, have respect in the water, have respect of the water. As soon as you, it's like anything, as soon as like a dog, as soon as you disrespect it, it'll bite you, so just be fully aware. We touched on it earlier. Why listen to me? Again, this is the bit I really hate, cringy. I'm not a fan of talk about myself and what I've done. So I'm going to spin through this. And my wife's told me I've got to do this because why should you listen to me? Right. Uh, and this is the hardest bit of the talk for me, right? Qualifications matter, but practical experience matters too. Um, I really dislike here's my race CV, look at me, and I wonderful, please employ me as a coach and listen to what I'm talking about. I don't do that. Most of the athletes that I coach, they don't even know my achievements. They know I'm a triathlete and I've done a couple of podium finishes and I like swimming, which is quite rare for triathletes. Background, we talked about my living diabetes. 2004 was my diagnosis. I've represented Ireland in triathlon several times across all distances. Completed multiple long course triathlons like Ironman, Challenge, ITUs, multiple marathon swims. The marathon swims, not a marathon distance, it's anything over 10K. So 10K, 15K, 20K, those sort of swims. I've got multiple coaching qualifications and sporting qualifications. Most importantly, years of practical experience. And with that comes an awful lot of mistakes which I've learned from. And trust me, I've learned a lot from them. And this is what I'm hoping you don't have to learn from that. Experience doesn't mean I have all the answers, but I can get them and I can understand virtually anything that goes on. So I've been swimming in the sea for 20 odd years now. So, right. Now it's your turn. I'm going to ask questions. Enough of me talking now because I want to have a drink of water. My mouth's gone all dry. So when you come to a big body of water, wherever you swim, whether it be a reservoir, a lake, the sea, what fear does that conjure up in your mind? When you put it in the chat, put your hand up, speak out. Things like, oh, that's deep. Oh, that's vast. It's huge. It's cold, definitely one. Yeah.
That's
Even
disappeared.
in this weather, 23 degrees, you might say it's not cold, but you know.
I
Stephen,
think
the
for
chat function's disappeared. So are you
Oh,
happy if I talk?
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think I swim in the sea. I swim with my triathlon club and stuff. But I've learned to respect the water a bit more since breaking my nose coming out of the sea. And I think for me, it's the strength of the waves and how, you can see the waves and it's sort of estimating. And I've got much better since then at knowing, for me, those waves are too choppy, not because I won't be able to swim in them, but because I won't be able to get out. And that's, yeah, it's just sort of really sort of assessing for your own ability when to say no, it's not the right conditions, because other people might be getting in, other people might think it's okay, but I'll think no, I'm shorter, I'm weaker, or I'm not going to get out safely. Just wondered your thoughts on that.
It's one of the things I was going to mention. I don't know the rest. So Wendy lives in Littlehampton. I live in Brighton, which is just a bit along the coast. And down here, it's a really unusual coastline. This is why it's really important to know your environment. We have a shelf, and so the sea comes out, and then it goes. Camera is there, and it drops like this. And what happens? You get a large body of water come here, and because you got this shelf, it hits it, which lifts it up, and then it turns over, and it gives you a dump. So if you imagine if it's just a metre dump, I mean, it can be flat out here, but a metre dump of water, if that hits you, that's a ton in weight hitting you. So it will knock you flat. And where we swim, it's all pebbles. So, and don't get me wrong, I've been turned over on those pedals, as you, Wendy. I've lost hat goggles. It's even taken me swim shorts off me, which is really embarrassing. I enjoy it. It's terrible. Having to run back to the car park. Yeah. So the thing is, with these swells, it comes in on little tiny waves. You have to stay out and you assess the waves because they all come in patterns, threes or fours, and they've got X amount of seconds behind it. And it always finishes with a big, I say a big wave. It could be big, it might be big, it might be small. And it's catching behind that. So you can't start out 20 meters out on top of that wave. And obviously you can't carry on in it. And as that crashes perfectly, you'll come in and you'll stand up and then you'll run like hell, just because the minute you take a second to wait, there's another wave probably 3 seconds, 4 seconds behind. And then that will come and that will take you off your feet. And if it's mid calf, it will also then drag you back in. And then as you're trying to scramble up the stones will dissipate underneath you. And so you're like, the old cartoon where they go like this and they're not running anywhere. You're trying to run away. And then the sea will grab you again. And it's like someone having your ankles and it will pull you back in. And we've lost quite a few people this year, in Brighton, especially from exactly that same thing happening. So, yeah, it's a very dangerous. And you're right, when you don't, if you think that's too rough for me, too much of a dump, I'm not coming in. Mm. But you can move up and down the coast. A couple of different beaches in Brighton, it is a little bit less, but it's still there. We've also said on here, no GCM signal in the pool. Yeah, we'll come to that one as well a bit. Fear of dirty water, yeah. Southern water is brilliant. I think Wendy just said in this drought, they just did another big sewage dump in Littlehampton. Yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing much we can do about that. And that's the choice you've got to take. Am I the ones intimidating, disorientating, and unpredictable? Right, so not able to fill your glucose levels. That's a toughie, especially in swimming, because it's all right if you're running, or it's okay if you're on a bike, you can stop. If you're out that's why I would suggest you'd have to come in every 20 meters and with a towel in your toe float and test, and then go back out again. I mean, before CGMs, that's what I used to do, and that's how I built up a plan. Very annoying, but yeah, it's worth it, and you can build up your plan from that information. Symptoms been with experience to watch out. Things getting on. Well, we're going to come to cold water as well, so I'm going to go through a little bit more of this. So a lot of these questions will be answered because they have been asked a couple of times of me. So I'm going to try and set the scene, and then I'll go to the answers that I've got, and that taking cold water swimming and nutrition and stuff. A lot of people, when they get into water, they panic, and because it's deep, it's cold, it's unusual, and overthink it. I like to put it to same as when you're driving. When you first pass your test, you're very tense, you hold your steering wheel like this, and you come out and you're exhausted. But the better you get at it, the more you try it, the more you relax, the less tired you get. Swimming in open water in the pool is exactly the same. If you swim all tensed and tight, one, you won't swim very well. Two, you'll be knackered and it won't be fun. So it's more about relaxing and getting in the flow, which will come with experience. I mean, I'm going to take this from a novice point of view. I know we've got all range of swimmers on here, but so I can't just talk about experience swimmers. So those who are more experienced have heard this a million times. Just bear with me, and we'll come through with everything. So swimming, especially in the sea, I like to put it should be like a romantic dance with your partner. The amount of people I see having a fist fight with the water, which will never win. You see they're throwing and they're going really, really purposely, as opposed to do nice and relaxed, a nice slow beat in your head. There should be nothing tense in your body at all when you're swimming. That's what I mean. Like, so if you're dancing, you're flowing, and that's exactly what it should be like. Nice, simple flow. Those at Little Hampton I won't make you dance, but we'll sort of like do a little water dance, if you like. Control what you can, and let go what you can't. So what's in our control? Your breathing, your effort, your preparation, and you can control when you get the hell out of the water. So if you're not comfortable, you need to test your bloods, out you get. If your breathing's got erratic, you can't control it, get out, reground yourself. You don't even have to get out. You just need to get, so it's really bizarre. You just need to be able to put your feet on solid ground, and everything seems to get a lot better once you do that. You control your breathing, and then you go back and control your effort. We don't do that fight. We do that dance as opposed to the fighting. And if you have concerns, remember the main thing you can remember: can you breathe? Yes. Can you swim? Yes. So focus on those, and your concerns will slowly fly away. I mean, it's right to be concerned because you're out in a large body of water. You should be, but it shouldn't panic you. It shouldn't worry you too much. I've more the positives. Right, we've done the fear of open water. What's the beauty of open water? I've given away one of my answers there. I should have said open water is wild, and that's the point. What do you love about it? If you're sitting on a beach and you're on a riverbank or a lake bank, you're looking out.
So I think it's really great mentally. You're not just looking at nature, you're in nature and you're part of nature. And yeah, just your whole body, you can be really stressed and it just helps you relax. And if I'm swimming in the sea and I look back at the land, I kind of think whatever problem's going on, that's on the land and I'm somewhere else. So yeah, mentally I find it really good as well as physically.
Yeah.
That's a great way to think about it, Wendy. I love that.
Yeah.
So there's been times that, whatever problem I've had, I've been swimming in the sea with friends and you're out there and you just think, right, that problem is behind me. I'm somewhere else. And I think also because it is a bit, I'm not going to say scary, but you're aware of the danger. You've got to be, it's a bit like, when you're riding your bike on a busy road, you've got to have your wits about you. You've got to be, you've got to have your wits about you. You've got to know not only what your diabetes is doing, but you've got to be conscious of how far you've gone. Have you drifted? Is someone on the beach watching you? Do they know where you are? And things like that. So I think your mind, there's a space in your mind occupied by that as well. So again, that takes away whatever the problem is, this is what you've got to concentrate on. You've got to concentrate on keeping yourself safe. So it makes everything else feel a little bit less of a worry, I suppose.
I guess that fear kind of helps you focus, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It puts it into perspective. It's like, okay, this is what I've got to concentrate on. This is the important thing. But actually, it's great fun. When you've swum, from A to B and you look back and you see the achievement. My swimming journey is a bit like Steve's. We just did life saving at school. So, I think when you've learned something and you're proud of yourself, even if it's something small, it's a really good feeling.
And you're right. The beauty of it is, so I always swim with the toe float, and sometimes I like going out deep water. So go out and sometimes just put your toe float under your arms, and you just float there and you look back. I can't meditate, but that's probably about as close as possible you can get to true meditation, true peace. It's just wonderful out there. And you've got big toe floats, so you've got no problems. You can float there for as long as you want. Yeah. So it's beautiful. I also like the unpredictability of it. Again, because it's every swim's going to be different. Every time you go out, something's going to be different. And it's uncomfortable enough. Not uncomfortable to be too dangerous, but it still makes you uncomfortable enough that you have to have all your senses and be fully aware of what's going on. I'm grateful that you got the ability to go out into the sea. I think I'm quite lucky living on the coast, so it's really good. And also, every thing with every swim, it doesn't have to be perfect. The problem is with most pool swimmers, which I know a lot of people on here are, what's your 25, what's your 25, what's your perfect, you high elbow, stroke's got to be perfect, it's got to be everything has to be spot on and perfect. And it's really difficult to get out of that mindset if you're a pool swimmer. When you're in the open water, anything can happen. So it's not perfect. So it removes that level of tension, that level of I must perform. And that's a really, really tough lesson to learn. And even if you're a racer, I mean, I race open water competitively, but I also love just going out and just not being perfect, not having the perfect stroke, forgetting my watch, in the times. But you see it when you're coming in, when you even on cool downs, people are touching their watch for the time. It's all important. And this is what the beauty of open water can take us away from that and give us the downtime that we actually need. But again, I think the beauty about open water, I liken it a lot to diabetes because it always goes wrong. Not always goes wrong. But often goes wrong. Yeah, and when it does go wrong, it's not failure. It's open water swimming. That's diabetes. I mean, the same can be said of all sports. You get a puncture, you take a fall, your kit breaks, you get an unpredicted high or low. You forget your pens, forget your needles. These are all things that can happen. It's all things that go wrong, and it's about how you deal with that can help you move on and help you grow as well. This one again, the pew. I'm really selling it. I like that. Cheers, Adele. So I'm going to say, well, currently I'm assuming everyone can swim a bit. We can, like, if your uncle threw you into the pool like he did to me, you can get to the side. So I'm asking you some questions now. So what skills, if you're going to get into open water, do you think are quite important, that are very important and quite important?
I think for me, the biggest one is just kind of keeping calm and remembering to breathe.
Yeah. Breathing is the most important one, isn't it?
Yeah. Sounds simple, but very easy to forget when you've got waves crashing against you.
Yeah. And it's not just breathing, it's controlled breathing. It's because you start doing that makes you more out of breath, makes you more hypoxic. So then suddenly you've got less and less oxygen. So it's about crashing the wave. That's fine. I'll just turn that way and take a slow, deep breath. So breathing, definitely important.
Happy to float. So just confident that, if you are a bit of a panic, you can just roll onto your back and comfortably float until you've calmed down.
Yeah. And again, this is why I always I'll refer to these later, toe floats. In rough water, if you have a panic, you have anything, you just hold. And again, it's that grounding, you're safe. So you can then control your own breathing. And again, that's the whole point. Because the quicker your breathing goes, the closer you are to panic. And we all know what happens when we panic. It doesn't end well. You lose your choices the more you panic. So, and that's never good in open water. So another thing, sighting, you need to know where you're going. So it's quite important. And someone alluded to earlier, getting used to swimming in waves. Also, when you go out with people, getting used to swimming in a group. It'd be quite strange if you're swimming and suddenly somebody taps you on the shoulder that you're not expecting. Often my biggest fear is a seal or a bloody dolphin, because I swear there'll be that shark that's chasing me. So it's that contact, and just what happens, because that would freak us, or even coming across jellyfish. Jellyfish down on the south coast where we are, they're not nettle stings. They're are just not nice. I really don't like them. But we can get past that. Sense direction and distance, definitely on distance, because again, if you're swimming with the current, that will take you very far. And I lead to this later. And then you think, oh wow, I'm a champion swimmer. Look how far I've gone. But now you've got to come back. But now you're against the current. And this is when your ego kicks in. You go, yeah, I'm going to smash that back, not a problem. You've got to go, no, I'm going to get out. I'm going to walk along a little bit. That's really, really important. I can tell which current's going. I'm going to come to that as well about currents and stuff. Right. Talking points. Yeah. So I often ask especially the people that come to Atlanta, I want you to think about what your goal for open water swimming will be. What do you want from it? And why? And also a goal that's completely beyond you, because we all start with little goals. Like I started with 400 meters, I ended up swimming the channel. How does that happen? It's all about those tiny little goal settings. What to you once seemed impossible? I mean, once to me seemed impossible, blue riding 10 miles on a bike. Yeah. Running a park run. It's some people, it's coming down the stairs. But you're still moving forward. We still do it. We still go forward. And again, this is another thing that I've learned from diabetes. This is what brought me to this. And this is what gives me the confidence to know that I can do that. I've survived loads. I've survived blue light into hospitals, and I've survived being in real bad places just because my body says, nah, no reason why. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes the challenge is just a Tuesday. Bad night, highs and lows, but you still get up, you still go forward. So when we come to swimming, this is what we think. This is what I need to do. This is where I need to get. Right, when I was preparing for this talk, again, I alluded to it earlier. When I was preparing for this talk, I was looking for some old race reports, and I caught one, captured one of true. Why I put this called Kingdom of Fears. So my Kingdom of Fears story is not particularly diabetes related one, but it came from it. I was a diabetic, but it's all about channel swimming. So I'll just read you the first paragraph off the race report. Because imagine getting on a boat with four mates and one at a time jumping into 30-degree water, 13 degrees water, with nothing but pair of speedos on and a set of goggles. Behind you is Dover, England. Ahead of you, 35 miles away, is France. 12 to 15 hours estimated one-way channel crossing to go one way. Swimming through pitch black at night. Now, there's Kingdom of Fears coming in. Manoeuvring strong tides, battling hordes of jellyfish, and fighting your way through fields of seaweed. Some seaweed you can get out and walk across, it's that thick. Then, if all the conditions are aligned, you emerge victorious having swum the channel. And to remember that you got to get back in and you got to swim back to the comfort of home. You forgot about the return leg, battling against hypothermia, jellyfish stings, and worst of all, your own imagination. It's absolutely pitch black. I mean, you can't see where your hand's going in. And that's the channel at night. It took another 11 hours to get back to Old Blighty, but with the proud knowledge that after 60 plus miles, no other team had gone faster. And that's why we've got a world record at that. So that for me was a challenge. And night swimming is a whole different kettle of fish. Not only we're going to do that, but that's a whole other talk that we can do. So my thing is it's all about challenges. So I didn't begin to swim in the English Channel. I didn't want to swim in the English Channel, but I think it came from being a diabetic, getting diagnosed, thinking I'll do triathlons. I can't swim. I'll swim 400 meters. I'll swim 1,000 meters. Oh, I'm comfortable swimming now. And then I became more capable because we're more comfortable out, the better we become at something. And so eventually I realized, I was actually quite good. And that's when, usually with a couple of beers, you just think, what would be a great idea? Yeah, let's go cold water swimming in the channel. Yeah, big challenges usually begin with a series of very small ones. So if you're not familiar with can you have just show hands of who swims predominantly in lakes? Sorry, I'm missing out on some chat as well. I'll get back to the chats in a minute. So not many in lakes. Who's predominantly, which is one, I think, Liz, which is you, I think. Anyone predominantly swimming sea?
Is this opposed to pool? Like if you're talking just open water?
Open water, yeah, not pool. I'm just
Yeah.
seeing what our open water experience is.
See.
So two sea swimmers and rivers. Got any river swimmers? I always find river swimming really bizarre because it's very shallow, and usually a lot more polluted than our seas as well. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, there's four golden rules. It will be colder than you expect, even now. It's warmer actually in the water than it is on the shore, but it still feels that first minute, 2 minutes again, it still feels colder. If you swim in a wetsuit, your wetsuit will be tighter on land than it is in the sea. Once you're in the sea and you open it up, best tip for a wetsuit, fill it up with water and then stand up and let the water come out. The wetsuit will then adhere to your body and it will stick to you like glue and it will then move like a lycra t-shirt, nice and tight. Get comfortable in the shallows before going further out. You don't necessarily have to go out of your depth. In Brighton, you do because you have to get past that shore dump that Wendy was talking about. But that's not that far, and it's not always a shore dump. So you don't have to go 500 meters a kilometre out. Oh, and avoid swimming alone. Probably never swim alone. I can't say never swim alone because I swim alone 8% of the time. But I always have a tow float, as I alluded to earlier. So back to the questions, right? Enough of me about trying to boost you all up and let's get ready for sea swimming. So I've alluded a lot to why I recommend a tow float. So I want you to jump in. I'm going to read some of the comments from the previous ones and tell me why you think a tow float, why I'm such a strong advocate for tow floats. And all right, also, who's got a tow float? Let's put your hand up. Yeah. Even good on camera, brilliant. Perfect. So why would you be a strong advocate? Well, why would I be a strong advocate?
But for me, it's having something to hold something to keep you buoyant. Like if you need a breather and you can't touch the bottom.
So, Steve, I was going to say, when I swim with a tow float, they can be a bit annoying if the water's pushing them, a bit tangly. But I'm pretty sure my tow float saved my life because when I was in that tumble of the waves, I didn't know which way up was. And when I paused, I just followed the line to find the top, but I didn't actually know which way up I was. So for me, it was about finding the way up. I wouldn't have known that if I didn't have a tow float.
Surfers, that's what they do. They follow the leash up to their board.
Yeah, I didn't know where it was, and I just thought follow the line and found my way back to the top. But without the tow float, I don't think I would have known which way up I was. So yeah, definitely tow float.
You say you get tangled up in it. So mine, I've got a double leash.
Ah.
So it goes, it's literally behind my feet. Especially in rougher water, that's great.
Yeah, because it bounces behind you, doesn't it? And it's just a bit.
Sometimes when it's windy, it can, if they're short, they can blow and they just hit you on the back of the head.
Yeah.
Really annoying. If it's a long leash like that, it generally goes off to the side.
It's a good idea then, join two together.
Two together, definitely.
Yeah, I think it came together with diabetes primarily, like a safety precaution to have my phone with me to check the CGM, have maybe some gels. In the first place, I had to buy my float when I was swimming in the sea, and some boats passing around stopped me like, come on, what are you doing? You're like running across the highway here with no visibility. So in that vacation, I bought float, and then I used it also. You can take things with you, like, I know, your slippers to walk to some place and then swim back, that type of thing.
Perfect. I mean, you wouldn't go out on a bike at night without lights on. And that's exactly what a tow float is. If you ever try to find someone in the sea or even in a lake and it's a bit windy, so the surface is a bit ruffled, and you're trying to find a little tiny hat that's probably black coloured or blue. You know, it's very difficult to see it. Toe floating, brilliant.
Are there any, just on the topic of hats, are there any coloured hats that make you more visible in the sea than others?
Orange, not black, not blue, not white, pink. Usually, I generally swim with the pink one. But anyway, I'm in Brighton. Everyone loves pink in Brighton. So the other thing we didn't mention about, we alluded to with toe flights, highly visible. The lifeguards can see you from a mile away. Lifeguards will be your best mate if you go out with one of those. Also, with this one, right, I alluded to it earlier, I have a netting on the side. And in the netting, that's where I keep my gels. So when I'm swimming, I just need to go to the netting, keep the gels. I've learned how to sew because I had to sew some Velcro. I had to glue it to the bag and then sew it to the netting because I kept losing gels out of it. So a bit of Velcro on that and it stays locked. I've never lost the gel since. But I always have a couple of spare gels.
Is that one you've bought that has mesh, or have you put it together?
No, it's one I bought from Lomo, is the brand.
Cool.
Decathlon also do them with the mesh, but I would put some Velcro on it because you will lose stuff. And so, yeah, gels go on the inside of the bag, blah, 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 roll it up, done. And also, this for your CGMs, because of course, we're out of deep water. We don't know what our blood glucose is. I'll do it. So don't go cheap with these, not unless you want to lose your phone. I use a puffin one. I've had it years, never had a problem, and it's got the three folds in it. Now there are another type where it's got plastic on top and it clips. It's got two clips. Every one of those I've had has leaked. Every single one without fail, and they can be quite pricey as well. So this one, it has a snap across there, a seal there, a seal there, and a seal there, and you fold it over. So it's three seals, and then you fold it all over. Long leash on it, so I'll put my phone in there, tie it securely to your bag, because again, you don't want to lose it. And I wrap it around multiple times, and then you put it into the netting of your bag with your gels. So with your phone facing upwards. CGM, top of your arm. So if you're, I don't know, I've used the Libra for years, but when the last time I used the Libra, it was the flash type. So boom, you've got your reading straight away if they're still flash types. Ever so simple. I'm on the Dex 7 at the minute. So all I have to do, I know I'm going to stop. It's been 30, 40 minutes. I get a gel out, put me bag under there, make sure me CGM's out. And while I'm sucking down the gel, it's connecting. Literally takes a minute. It takes no time at all. I could forget about it on my watch. It didn't work. Mainly because as you pull these bags along, even though you're pulling it along like that, it never goes like that. Straight away, it flips and your phone's underwater every single time. And I've tried to counterbalance it. I've tried all sorts. Never works. So always have your phones. And you can put your phone in a sandwich bag within that and a bag within a bag within a bag. The Bluetooth will still get through it. So that's, as someone asked earlier, that's how I do my glucose when I'm at sea. And I'm out, I could be gone three plus hours. So I really need to know. And if I can't do that, then I'll come in and I'll do a blood test, even if I have to go to my car to get a meter.
So do you also make sure that your CGM is above the water, or it does connect? Okay, so really like hanging on it. Mm-hmm.
So if I'm on the water, I have my bag, so I use my bag to float and have both arms. So I'm just resting on it there like that. So it's out, and it's as close as it can be to there. And as long as it's on your upper arm, same as when you're in the pool. You know, if you smash out loads of meters, if you stand up and your CGM's high, it'll connect to your phone. It probably won't pick up on your watch that quickly. I don't know about your watches, but mine's a bit slow. Every now and again, it decides not to bother, just of its own accord. The one most important thing that's no one talk, yes, you can put your shoes and stuff in it as well, which is great. Has anyone ever had a cramp when you're swimming? You get a calf cramp or a hamstring cramp. You have it when you're just walking down the road. Cripples you. You can't do anything. Excuse me. So imagine having a cramp when you're out swimming and you've got no flow. You're done. And this is why. And I want to put a bit of fear in here because this is why they're so important. And if you've had a run, a day, a hard week, not drank enough water, who knows why cramps happen? They just happen, don't they? So this is why, to me, it's so important. Puffin, yeah, someone said in the comments, yeah, the waterproof phone case, a puffin case, a bit more expensive than the other ones, but hey, you've got £1,000 phone you're looking after, ain't you? So worth spending 20 quid in a puffin. And the bag that I use is a Lomo, Lomo, with the net side. Oh, is it £8.99? That's brilliant. Even better. So yeah. Other thing on your kit is everyone's got an electronic car key now, haven't they? So you can put that inside your bag, which is great and fine. It's still, you might get water in there, you might not. Have you heard of a surf key? So if you've got not a full electronic key, but you know the keys where the little metal bit comes out and you put that in your ignition. If you go to a key maker, they'll make you a key just for that. And that's known as a surf key. So you just put that in a bit of string around your neck. It's fine. And there's another thing, if it's a fully electric key, I mean, a lot of them have a release. I know mine has. There's a button and you can pull out the surf key of the actual body. But there's another product called Moon Code. And it's basically, the lock boxes you put inside of your house. It's one of them that's got a shackle on it that you put on the handle of your car or whatever, and you shackle it to that. And it's a 4-digit code. Again, brilliant, because a lot of my mates, they swim, they put their keys on the front wheel. And they've got some nice cars. It's sort of like, for God's sake, everyone knows swimmers put keys on their front wheel. Their cars haven't been stolen. Are we swimming the heart of Brian? I really don't know. Well, we've just started to notice my blood's ticking down now, so I'm just having a couple of these lovely lifts. So, confidence without constraints was a question. Long swims, confidence without constraints, and glucose data. How can I check my levels? Sorry, I can check my levels when running and cycling, but what happens when I'm swimming somewhere with no mobile reception? I think we've covered that with what I'm saying about floating on the thing. But do it all in training. Don't assume it's going to work first time you go out. Check, and check again. Skip past that. Would I recommend any dedicated training for glucose management? Yes. I would recommend whatever you can do. You train in the way you intend to swim or race, and you always go on, this as lifelong diabetics, you always go on the side of caution and don't build a plan from one successful swim. Build a plan from the ones that failed, the ones that you had to get out early for. Question to you then. So if I'm going to go and build a plan, I've got my glucose meter on, belly bag, I'm doing a great swim. How would you build a plan from that? I mean, what would you record? What would be the vital information you'd think you'd need? No wrong answers here. Don't be shy. Let's
I
start.
guess almost everything, to be fair.
Yeah.
Everything has an impact of some sort, doesn't it, with diabetes?
Yeah. Very
Which
much
way
so.
the wind's blowing, everything.
Is it Tuesday? Did I have a bad night?
Yeah.
All of that. Yeah. So I would go with starting glucose. We're going to go with, you've had an average day. You haven't struggled the day before, or you haven't done a 100-mile bike ride the day before, because that'll affect your swim. So you start at glucose. Are you trending up? Are you trending down? Or are you running smooth? Insulin on board. I should hope that will be zero. Really do hope that that's zero. Your basal changes. When did you change it? Did you reduce it by 50%, 80%? How long ago? Was it an hour, roughly? Food and carbohydrates, we alluded to. When did you last eat? How's that going to go? Water temperature, very important. The colder it is, the more you burn through energy. How long's the swim? How much effort did you put in? So everyone's heard of rate of perceived effort, RPE. So you rate all your swims either out of 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, depending on which rule you follow. The conditions of the water, because if it's windy or it's rough, more energy is needed. You're going to do a lot more. And you're stressed and adrenaline. Were you stressed? Did you have a bad day at work? Were your adrenaline spikes? Were you with mates? Did you all get a bit overexcited? All of that. Same as what you would do if you're going out for a run or a bike ride. You take these same things. You write it all down, you work out the world's most perfect plan, you then go repeat the session again, and you get a whole bunch of different numbers, even though it's exactly the same thing the next day or the day after. And feed them in. And after weeks, you'll then have the perfect plan until you put it into action, and then you feel, I've got to change this on the fly, because that's the life of diabetic, isn't it? Nothing goes to plan and nothing goes the way we expect it to. So expect to change, but that would be a very good rule of thumb that you go to. I've got a rule of thumb that I go to. I'll show you in a bit, and I'll make sure that I change that on the fly as well.
Steve, so with you doing at least 3 sports and I guess more types of workouts, can you learn also from cross trainings? Because yeah, I can imagine myself going for a few hours long run, for a few hours long cycling, but for swimming it's a bit further away. So I think my longest training would be normally like 2 hours maybe.
Yeah.
But can I already learn from what goes on in cycling, in running, and compare, I don't know, blood glucose curves and all of that? Like, okay, what should I expect from longer swim? Or is it only going through trial and error?
It's really tough because people, I mean, you sweat a hell of a lot when you're swimming, and people don't understand the actual exertion have the impact of a run. So your body's not trying to repair itself, because then when you do that, your body uses more calories because of that impact. It's probably more akin to a bike. You know, say a bike at zone 3, high zone 3 would be more akin to a normal swim, not a race swim, and not a I'm just out swimming enjoying it sort of swim, but a standard swim would be more like a zone 3 bike ride. Again, this is not a perfect scenario, and that generally sort of works for me until it doesn't. But I've built mine over years and years and years of trial and error. It's an awful thing to have to say, but a lot of it does. Trial and error with knowledge. So not really error as such. Trial and we'll jig it a little bit. That makes sense. That'll help you along in a way. And obviously, the longer you go, the more carbohydrates you need. Because don't forget, swimming does burn through a lot of calories. A lot of calories, more than you think. Next one was, am I tired? Am I seasick? Or am I going low? Honest answer, yeah, to all 3, and maybe none, and maybe somewhere in between. Definitely. Seasickness is awful. I used to have seagulls following me like a trawler. You know, they follow a trawler. I used to get sick all the time. And the worst thing about getting sick is you've had a gel 5-10 minutes ago, and you think, oh, I've just got, oh, right, I've got to have another gel. And you go, oh, I'll be all right. No, you won't. You definitely won't be all right. So then you got to stop, have another gel, stay ahead of the sick that you've just done, swim a bit further, but definitely have that gel. C6 is an absolute nightmare, but ginger works really, really, really well. Holland and Barrett do a high-powered ginger capsule. I was like an addict on those. I was like twice a day, 3 times a day, double dosing. And then you just get used to it. You do. I rarely get seasick anymore, and I'd get seasick looking at the sea. And again, it's one of those bloody mindedness. You still power through it because this is what I want to achieve. Am I getting cold, or am I going low? Am I tired? Test again on the bag CGM. If you can't do that, go and put your feet down on the shore. If you're worried about your Strava, stop your watch. Just do that test. Always play on the safe side. Always air recursion. Don't let your ego get in the way. And just think, oh, well, it's only 10 minutes more. It's only 10 minutes more. It's that 10 minutes that will stop you getting out, and then they won't find you. It really is. It can hit you that quickly when you're swimming. again, I know from experience.
What have
Um,
been what have your learnings and errors, failures been in
I,
that? Because it's like again going for 2 hour, well, 1 hour, 2 hour swim. I know that I will not get too low, and
yeah.
especially if I had gel before the swim. But how far do you push it? You swim 10, 15, 20 kilometers, I guess.
So like I said, the channel, my long, you could say 15 kilometers, so 10 kilometers a normal swim. So with that, I'd have a gel. I'd be no insulin on board at the start, and I'd have no insulin on board for a while. Tricky place here, and the medics among you are going to go screaming ketones, ketones, ketones. Very dangerous if you're going for long swims. Because of course you've got no insulin on board. And to be honest with you, sometimes I have pens and I put a pen in my bag as well. So I've never needed it, but it's there just in case. So my regime would be no insulin on board. If my bloods are at 8 and I'm going for an hour swim, I'd have a 20-gram carb gel before I get in, and I'd have a 40-gram carb gel either up the leg of my wetsuit or in my netting of my bag. And if it's only an hour and a eight, I'd probably have that about 40 minutes in, because what I find, if I push 50 and you're coming low, but you're not sure if it's tired. And the amount of times I've done it and it's about to cut out the water early, you're crawling out the water and you just think, I knew I was going low, and that's ruined the whole swim because you can't go back in, you can't complete. And then you've got to sit on the beach, shoveling down sugar. Also have a tenner or something in your toe float so you can get an ice cream, drink, wherever you can get, wherever you can get. And so don't push it. If you feel you're going low, just take a gel. What's going to happen? You'll burn it off if you're going to go on a long swim anyway. So my gel regime would be one every 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes.
Steve, can I ask, you said no insulin on board at all. So do you not eat before, or do you not bolus for anything that you eat before you go and just think, what the heck, I'll be high?
I'm rarely high. I would eat probably 2 hours before, and I would do a reduced bolus for that.
Yeah. So there would be some insulin on board left from that potentially.
Well, yeah, I'm on Lumijev, so even though my pump says it's there for 5 hours,
okay,
Lumijev just goes, it goes quite quickly, which in these situations are quite good. So this is how you need to know how long your insulin is. And yeah, if you've got if you've got insulin on board, as all the guys have probably mentioned a million times, it's going to get a lot more sensitive, and you're going to get a lot more close to going low. And you don't want to be going low when you're running or cycling is bad, but it's not as bad as going low when you're out at sea or out in the lake. So this is why I know you're right. I would rather be high.
Yeah.
I'd rather run hot. So this is what I mean. I'd have a 40-gram gel every 30 to 40 minutes. And sometimes I get out of the water and I could be 11. It's sort of like, to me, that's a result.
That's fine.
Yeah, happy day. Other times I get out of the water and it's 5, but I can feel that. So I cut my swim short because I know I'm at 5, and if I have a gel, it still won't pick me up enough because my body's still burning through those calories. I'd still have the gel because by the time I'm changing in my car, I'll have dropped again. But that gel will stop that drop. I'll have caught it before that. So as we all know, after exercise, you're still burning, especially swimming.
I tend to think of 12 as my number for going in the sea.
Yeah. Do you have insulin on board at all with that, or?
It depends, because I might eat something before I go and not bolus, but yeah, it varies. It varies.
Everyone's got their magic number, so I like 8 and having a gel. I get comfort from gels, from that knowledge that I've got that rushing around my body, and it gives me that comfort, gives you that ability to, I can go 40 minutes, I can go 50 minutes. I had it in a race, massive adrenaline spike, put insulin to counter the adrenaline strike, big mistake. I got 30 minutes into a 10K race. I was overtaking everyone, I was flying. I had to pull over onto the side. I knew I was going low. Smashed down 2 gels. Had to wait, not I know it precisely, 18 minutes and 40 seconds before my bloods came to a point where I could go. And I'm all back with all the back markers. That's fine. That changed my swim. I was then not competing. I was not competing. I was then just taking part and enjoying. And so it was a really nice swim. And I just enjoyed it. So again, don't let your ego get in the way. And that's just having instant on board when I swim. So be very careful of that. But as I say, I'm no expert in you. You're an expert in you. So play with it. What's your magic number? Start at 12. Take your gels. Don't go too low, obviously.
Steve, I liked your comment that I've heard you say previously when people have asked, what if you don't like gels? And you just said you've got to grow to love them. That's it, isn't it?
No one likes training. No one likes hills on a bike. I mean, who? Really? Who likes going up a hill, smashing themselves? We get used to it, don't we? No one likes running up hills. No one likes that sort of thing. But yeah, I am for breakfast some days. It's just, it's training. It's just another form of training. And people say they can't stomach them. Well, try a different brand. There's like 10, 15 different brands out there. There's ones that the channel swimmers use that have got zero taste to them. All of these things, just you will find one that likes, and you'll use one for a while. And then I used to use high five all the time. And then one year my body just decided to get rid of them all. Every time I had one, I threw up. I'd used them for years, used them through Ironman and everything. So now I use SIS, the beta gels, the 40-gram ones. Brilliant, until my body decides it doesn't like them. So yeah, it's just treat that as another training thing you've got to get used to. Bit at a time. Just do it with a smile, because if you do it with a smile, everything's better, isn't it? So, but I'm very aware of the time and I've been talking a lot. So I'm going to skip through. We talked about the longer ones. I know because you asked that, Alex, didn't you? Wanted to know. How do I work out how to fuel? We've touched on that. Again, what I'll do, I'll send you out all the notes on this as well, and be aware they are notes and it's just my personal example. And I'll do it. We wanted, I think, dizziness, we could come back to that at another time. What do you reckon, about another 10 or 15 minutes? Cold water. Does anyone cold water swim? What is your coldest water that you'd be happy getting in? If it's 23 now, it's like a sauna.
Depends how long for. Like, I did a dip in the sea New Year's Day last year. That was quite nice, but that was kind of 2-3 minutes
Nice.
max.
Did you say nice?
It was, weirdly.
Bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you measure yourself, Steve, or do you just like have an app that tells you the water temperature? Do you use apps?
I've got multiple. I've got little ducky thing that I tie behind my tie plate. Yeah, various things attached to your tie plate. It's great. I've also got a really old Suntoe watch that tells the water temperature, because most swim watches don't tell you the water temperature. It's crazy. So when I know the temperature changing, I put that watch on, and that tells me the temperature then as well. So, but they're all close. And then you've got various apps. So you've got Surfline, which is a surfing app. That's really good. But when it says conditions are terrible, that means they're brilliant for us swimmers. It's terrible for surfers. And there's a new website come out called nippyindex.com. And they give you every stat you want to do and tell you what the water temperature is like as well. And it's fairly accurate. It's within a degree or two, as it all is.
You just go with the one that you like the look of most.
Yeah, pretty much. It's usually my duck. Yeah, and so that decides for me whether I wear a wetsuit, whether I wear a sleeveless wetsuit, or whether I go skins. So yeah, it's stick within your comfort zone, especially if you're not used to cold water, especially when it starts. If don't start swimming at 15 degrees, you need to acclimatise. So if you do short dips, quick dips, just in and out, get used to it, be comfortable, and then extend it by a minute. There's no rush. And as you're extending it by a minute, it's going down by degrees. So our actual coldest months is after December, not the lead up to December. That's when you get a real drop. In Brighton, it drops to around 5 or 6. That's brutal. So if you start swimming now and you go in 2-3 times a week in skins, you'll be acclimatised to it, to the cold. And then I've got a rule: if it comes once it goes below double digits, put a wetsuit on, and then you can stay in longer with a wetsuit. Then you put a thermal wetsuit on, you can stay in even longer. So you get thermal swim wetsuits. Now, as you can guess, I've got, like most sports people, I've got a lot of kit that you probably use once or twice a year. But yeah, get used to it. Hypothermia, it's a sneaky, I want to swear, it's a real sneaky bugger. It's like being at 5 and your arrows, trend arrows, sort of like ever so slightly pointing down. You think, oh, I'll be all right. So you go out for a walk, you lock the door, you get 2 minutes down the road, and suddenly you're low. That's hypothermia. Except when you're in the grip of hypothermia, it's not nice. It's true death. It's again like a low. It's true death experience. You can't drop. You come back to your car. Your hands are like that. You can't open your car door. The big thing, you're trying to get dressed. You can't. Someone has to dress you. You try and drink a hot drink because that's the best thing. A hot drink. You're like that. You can't pick it up. You spill it all over yourself. And so if you ever, I do talk. I can go into hypothermia a lot more. But if you do discover you've got it, the big thing is you'll find you get a claw hand. You'll be like that. First thing, you'll be swimming, your hand feels weird, and then suddenly it'll just stay like that. It's really bizarre. Claw hand. Now you're playing with hypothermia. Unless you're used to it, get out. Now, the only reason I got used to it and pushed it was I was swimming the channel. So, and when you get out, do not, whatever you do, have a hot shower. That is the worst thing you can do. Because as soon as you have a hot shower, that'll push you into what they call, is it not an aftershock? It's a after drop. So because you've been swimming, all your warm blood, it feels it on the skin. It goes, to hell with this, we're going inside. So it goes in and protects all your organs. And so you got all your organs are lovely and warm. The minute you have a hot shower and the hot water touches your arms and back, it goes then going, oh, we're warm again. So all the warm blood comes out and goes towards your extremities. And as soon as it hits the deeper tissue, that's still frozen solid. And then all this warm blood you've got suddenly goes cold. Then you go from, if your hand was sort of like that, literally within 2 minutes, you'll be uncontrollable. Then that's almost a hospital case when you go to that aftershock. This is how serious it is. And this is why you have to build up and do it really, really slowly. And again, I know that from experience. To treat it like you would a severe low, you know what you do when you're having a low. I mean, if you're at 3s, juice, you do that. Treat hypo the same. Never take the swim cap off until you swap it with a woolly hat. If you've got a car with heated seats, brilliant. Get dressed as quick as possible. Get on the heated seats and drink warm liquids of some sort. I listed off. I was going to ask you lot to tell me the symptoms of hypothermia. Anyone off the top of their head? Again, you'll feel cold, obviously. You do that. You might even get a tremor in your legs or a tremor in your arm. You'll get a tiny tremor. Weirdly enough, again, experimental one, I get a hot patch going down my spine. Work that one out. That's bizarre. So I know I need to get out. And if my legs have got a tremor in, I know I'm really dicing. So get out quickly. Right. I could go on for hours about cold water swim. We could do, slurred speech. Again, this is why it's like a hypo. Slurred speech. Do maths. What's 20 divided by 3? If you're a hypo, you can't do that. If you're hypothermic, you can't do that either. So treat it exactly the same. I'm going to quickly swim off because it's 9:15 now. We've been here a long time. I'll put a lot of this into notes because, as I say, I've got enough here to last 4 or 5 hours, and I'll send something out onto the group chat in the week. So it's been a whistle-stop tour. And I didn't cover half of what I wanted to cover and half of the questions that were sent to me. So I'll answer those questions in email and I'll send those across to you as well. And if you've got any more questions, do drop me, either inbox me personally or ask them on the group, and I'll try and answer them. I've just clocked up on my notes there. Talk about rips. They're really important. Right? They are really important. Don't swim against them. Don't panic.
Can I just say, if anyone hasn't decided about coming to Littlehampton for the weekend, if they just want to come for your bit, then they can join the group and we can tell them about the details. But if people have been inspired by you on this call and they think, yeah, I'd like to come just to that session, then that's absolutely fine. They can come for that.
Yeah. And I'll talk for 3 hours afterwards as well if you want.
Yeah.
So yeah, the main thing I want to come from this, right? Calm creates options, panic removes them. So whatever happens, stay calm, remove the panic, then you create options. And right, I'll stop there because I say I'm not even watered away through my skeleton that I put together. I haven't even answered half the questions on the chat. So I'll also download these questions off the chat and I'll answer those individually too.
Oh, thank you ever so much for that, Steve.
All right, mate.
Honestly, I could listen to you talk about open water swim for there's so many useful hints and tips and stuff that I'd never even thought about.
Mm.
Um, so it's been so useful, and yeah, really looking forward to the weekend. Looking
Yeah.
forward to coming to Wendy's and
Well, I'll do the
jumping
practical
in.
at the weekend as well, so we can do it. And I've got a sup for me, so we can go through all the practicalities the other bit.
Amazing, amazing. I'm looking forward to. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most is getting in the sea with more confidence.
Yeah.
I'm quite
So
scared.
that's yeah, that's what I'm looking to get out of it because I'll stick my toes in every now and then, maybe float around a little bit, but actual swimming in the sea is something I've never actually done. But yeah, really looking forward to doing it with I think being surrounded by people that are experts in it is really going to help.
I take people out, I take groups out all the time, and most of them are really novice swimmers. And it's all just about building that confidence a little bit at a time and knowing that you've got safety there, and that's the best time to do it. I mean, even when you go on your own, always have someone in a kayak or a safe paddleboard if they want to go down the paddleboard. Just have them next to you. It just gives you that little bit more confidence. As there's a tow float, never swim without one.
Yeah, I think for me that's kind of the biggest fear I have is not having that plan B.
Yeah,
But yeah, having a tow float, having people around you gives you options, doesn't it? Which then in turn helps to relax
yeah.
and enjoy it.
And something I touched on as well, if you're on a beach and it has a lifeguard, just go and have a chat with them. Say, right, I'm going out for a swim, I'm going this way, I'm going that way. And they'll say, great. Now they'll give you what to watch out for if there's any sandbanks, whatever. And they'll be really appreciative that you've actually had a chat with them, not like a lot of people who just totally ignore them. They love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. If anyone's got any more questions for Steve, feel free to message him directly, put them in the chat and we'll send them over or put them in the WhatsApp group. If
Can we
anyone
do a
wants to,
swimming group? We don't have a swimming WhatsApp. Can we
do
do a
we not?
swimming? No, we've got triathlon, we've got running, we've got everything else. We don't have a dedicated swimming group, so maybe we can set
We
one
can
up.
definitely have a swimming one.
If there's a
Absolutely.
demand for it, we can do.
There will
Yeah.
be. Mm.
Yeah.
I can
We
sort
have
that.
an open water swimming group and a pool swimming group, which we just lump them all into one.
We'll put them in one. We'll start off with one and we'll see how we go.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone's interested in coming down to the South Coast the weekend, feel free to join the WhatsApp group, message Wendy, and she'll give you all the details you need. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this evening, and look forward to seeing lots of you down the South Coast this weekend.
Thanks, Andrew. Cheers,
Cheers.
Steve.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate
Cheers,
it.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye now.